Okay, now I'll discuss about AOP. AOP is aspect oriented programming. AOP is a module in Spring, just like we actually discussed about Spring IOC module, the core module, Spring JDBC module, which will give support to JDBC. There are a lot of other modules also, but right now we'll concentrate on Spring AOP module. This AOP module of Spring concentrates on creating properties, right? Actually, there is a framework called as Aspect J. It's not part of Spring. It's a separate framework for creating proxies. And Spring AOP is just a copy of that same concept of Aspect J framework, right? So they are implementing the same concepts in their own way. Okay, once you understand this, let me introduce you to some terminology now. A class which contains cross-cutting code is called as an advice. Right? In Spring terminology, in AOP terminology, a class which contains cross-cutting code is called as an advice. Like earlier we were writing our cross-cutting code inside handler, invocation handler, right? We will be writing cross-cutting code in a separate classes now in Spring. Any class which contains such a cross-cutting code is called as an advice. And there are various types of advices. Again, you want such cross-cutting code to be executed before your original method. Such advice which contains a code to be executed before the original method is called as before advice. Right? An advice class which contains a code to be executed only before calling the method. Original method is before advice. And similarly, after returning advice, what? Guess. If you have some code to be executed only if the method returns successfully without exceptions. The method may throw an exception, the original method. If the method returns successfully without an exception, then only you want some cross-cutting code to execute. You can write such a cross-cutting code in after returning advice. So I'll just write various types of advices. Before advice, after returning advice, after advice. Yes, what is the difference between after returning and after advice? This will be executed only if the target method returns successfully. But the target method may throw an exception, right? If exception is thrown by the target method, this will not be executed. You want a code to be executed whether exception is thrown or not. Then you can keep it inside a class as after, right? And sometimes you may want some code to be executed when exception is thrown by the target method. So such type of class which contains the cross-cutting code to be executed when exception is thrown is called as throws advice. The last type, you want some cross-cutting code to be executed before, after, and when exception is thrown. A combination of all this, a single advice, is called as around advice. So these are the types of advices supported by Spring. What is advice? Any class which contains cross-cutting code. Right. So now we will start writing first a before advice in Spring, configure it, and then let us see. Till now I didn't talk about what is aspect. I just introduced you to what is advice. I'll talk about aspect after running this example. Okay, let's create a new project. New Spring project I will create. 06 AOP. I'll add all the libraries. So now, what we will be doing is using AOP, we will create some advisors for the same simple scenario calculator. And after you know all the types of advisors, I'll show you how to create a practical advice like for caching. Caching also is a cross-cutting concern. What do I mean by caching? Suppose if I have a DAO which is talking to database, whenever I call a method which is calling to select query, select star from employees, it will return list of employees, right? For the first time if I call that method, the method should be called, the list of employees should be kept in cache, temporary memory. Second time if I call a method on same object, why to go to database? The data should be already in cache. Instead of hitting the database, it should return it from the cache, right? So before your method call, before your original DAO method is called, if you can check whether data is there in the cache. If data is there, don't call the original method. If data is not there, call the original method. And return value of the original method can be kept inside again a cache. So I will show you how to implement a caching advice after you understand all these various types of advices through normal example calculator. Right? We'll go for a practical thing after we do this basic thing. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just copy paste this calculator and arithmetic calculator here in this AOP project. I'm just creating a new package com.mysys, and inside same package I'll copy paste. For these classes I'm going to create the proxy. So first I want to show you how to create before advice. Any class which contains cross-cutting code is called as an advice. If you want that cross-cutting code to be executed only before a method, we will write a before advice. So I'm writing a before advice class. According to AOP, if you want to write a before advice, you have to write a class implementing interface called as method before advice. New class, I'll say logging before advice. There's a before advice for logging. It should implement method before advice, and you need to implement a method called as before. First parameter is method, second parameter is params, and third parameter is the target. So here I'll just write system.out.println before invoking. I want to print the method name. How to access the method name? Method object dot get name plus method object dot get name, and plus I want to write parameters. What are the parameters passed? It is plus I want to create arrays dot toString. I just use this arrays dot to string so it will just convert that object array to string, arrays are to string. That's it. Just to print I just wrote like this. Okay, that's all. This code should be executed before my actual target method, right? So let's see, everything is done now. I will write the configuration file. I will write a new XML file, new Spring Bean configuration file. I'll say AOP and here I will declare the beans. First I will declare the bean for my calculator.
no dependencies, so just a calculator, and then I'll declare a bean for my advice also. So now what you want is a proxy, right? A proxy to this calculator you want. A bean which represents the proxy to calculator. Yesterday we have seen factory beans. Factory bean is a bean which will create objects, right? Yesterday we have seen JNDI object factory bean. That bean will look up the object from the JNDI and give that object, whatever is there in the JNDI. And also I told you how to write your own factory bean by extending class called as abstract factory bean. Yesterday we wrote it, right? I showed you yesterday how to create your own factory beans. If you want to create your own factory bean, extend abstract factory bean and override create instance, right? Whatever object returned by this create instance is the one which is given. Now to create proxies, there is a class called as proxy factory bean. We need not write our own factory bean. There is a class called as proxy factory bean which can create proxies. So I'll just configure that bean. Class proxy factory bean. I'll give ID as calci proxy, and for this I need to tell what is the target of the proxy. Target of proxy is my calculator bean, so I need to inject target ref is equals to cal. So I told what is the target of my proxy. Then do I need to tell this proxy should implement what all interfaces? So I'll just give name interfaces. See, interfaces is of what type? Class array. Array of class objects. You know, to configure array, what is the tag to be used? List. I'm giving a value com dot mysys dot calculator. Oh. Actually it is a array of what? Array of class. But in the list what am I passing? String. In the list I pass string. I didn't pass class object. String will be converted to class object. There is a default header called as class header. Using that class header it will convert string to class. Right? Then there is one more injection to be done. Interceptor names. Again, interceptor names is an array of string, name of the interceptors. If it is an array, again list. Tell me, can I say that my advice is an interceptor? My method call should be intercepted by the advice. So advice are nothing but another name is interceptor. So I can give my advice name long before advice. So that's it. We configured proxy factory bean. Use control space so it will give you automatically. Okay? That's it. Now what I'll do is I'll create application context object and get calci proxy, call a method on it. Let us see whether it will execute or not. I'll create new demo class. I'll take main method. application context is equals to new class path XML application context, and the file name is aop.xml. Then I'll simply say context.getBean. Bean name is, I don't want to get calci, I want to get calci. And calculator dot, so I can take it in a reference of calculator because the proxy is implementing this interface. I got a proxy, so I'll just now calculator dot add 2, 4. Plus 6. Okay. Let us see whether it will work or not. I called add method. Yep, see, it printed whatever I wrote inside my before advice. Before invoking add, parameters are 2, 6. Right? I got a proxy. Let us see, I'll just keep a breakpoint here and debug it. The calculator is pointing to is an object of type $proxy0, something. Generally by convention it is using a dollar symbol whenever some anonymous inner classes or inner class are created. Right? So we got a reference to proxy. Any doubts till now? Next, here coming to XML, do I need to give this interfaces? Is it required, or can Spring understand what all interfaces this calculator, the original target? Yes, by using reflection, you can use calculator dot get class dot get interfaces. I need to explicitly specify the interfaces to be implemented. It can use reflection. Anyway, I am giving the original target object itself. By using reflection, it can get all the interfaces which are implemented, right? So this is not manual, right? But when to use this? Suppose if your target is implementing 3 interfaces, right? First interface having method A and B, second interface C and D, third interface E and F. But now you want a proxy which is implementing only first 2 interfaces, not the third interface, right? You can give the list of only those 2 interfaces. You will get a proxy implementing only those 2 interfaces, right? If you don't give this, you will get a proxy which is implementing all the interfaces which are implemented by my original law. So it's up to you which proxy, how you want the proxy, right? Your proxy to implement which interface you can define, right? So for now, this is not required to make the configuration simple. Only we have to specify the target and interceptor. Any doubts? Yeah. Exclusion of? But again, there is something called as a point cut.
will be coming letter point cut. By using point cut, you can specify what all methods should be actually given to the proxy. Later we'll see concept called as point cuts. Okay, so now we have implemented before advice. Now I want to implement after advice. Right? So to implement after advice, I need to implement after. First I'll implement after returning advice. I'll write a class implementing after returning. This will be executed after returning. So you will be having access to return value also in this method, right? The method you have to implement is after returning. Quickly I'll implement it and under one more class. New class after returning advice. Logging after returning advice. And implement after returning advice. First one is the return value. Second one is method object. Parameters. Fourth one is a target. Now I'll just write a system.out.println. After invoking plus method dot get name plus params plus arrays dot toString plus result plus result. So that's it. Now I want this after returning advice to be applied for the same proxy, right? So in my XML I'll just declare the bean class is equals to logging after returning advice. I'll give ID and simple in the list I'll give another value. That's all. So for one proxy these two advices will be applied, right? Inside it, after invoking just check. If I want to write my own throws advice, I need to implement this advice. Okay, let me just implement it. New class logging throws advice implements throws advice. Okay, so there are no methods to be implemented. Generally, if a class is implementing any interface, I will implement. My compiler is not giving any error. So that means this throws advice is not having any methods.
But inside which method should I write the code? The API defines. You can write any method using this following signature. Void, the method name should be after throwing, and whatever in brackets are optional parameters. You can use either method object, arguments and target optionally, but throwable or subclass of throwable is mandatory parameter. So you should write, the interface is not having any method, but you should write a method following this signature. The container will invoke it. Okay, the proxy will invoke it. So I'll write a method after throwing. It's just like a marker interface. If any advice is implementing this, the container understands, okay, this is a throws advice, and I need to invoke a method in any one of the following signatures. Just like a marker. So optional parameters are method and all, but throwable subclass. Now I will keep exception system.out.println inside throws advice. I can write whatever logic, I can use this exception. Or optionally, I will show you how to add method, args and target in the next thing. So I have written my throws advice. In the XML, I need to declare class is equals to logging throws advice. ID is equals to logging throws advice, and here I will mention right. If I execute this program, will the throws advice be executed now? No. I should see only after, before and after advices right now. I'll simulate that exception. So inside add method, I'll simulate exception. Just to show you, I'll just say if true, throw new runtime exception. So this will be anyway executed, and the method add will throw an exception. I expect that my advice should be executed. See, am I getting? But where is that? Before inside. What should be the signature? Throwing. Okay. Okay. Did you observe what I threw? Runtime exception. Runtime exception is subclass of exception. Is it subclass of exception? So this method will be executed whenever either exception or subclass of exception is thrown. Right? So actually I have thrown runtime exception here. keep here runtime exception. Now let me run. Inside. Okay, but if I keep here exception, I think it was coming, but it was on right side. Let me just run it again. Now it's coming. I think it was down. I didn't scroll down or somehow. It's coming. Just check on your machines also. So here, if your method is throwing exception, this method will be executed only if this type or any of this subtype is thrown. Right? If I make this as runtime exception, and if my original method throws some compile time exception, right? So if I want this method to be executed in any case, I can make this as this will be executed for anything, right? Suppose if in this method you want to access the method name which has caused the exception, you can optionally give these parameters method comma, second parameter is args, it's an object array, comma, object target just I'll print plus method dot get. Let me check now. I'll run the demo. I got it. Yeah, earlier also this was printing it this side. Logging throws and add, it printed the method name. So the method signature can be an optional signature which follows this one according to the API. Method, args and target are optional. The last one, around advice. I want the logic to be executed before, after and after an exception is thrown. If you want to write an around advice, you have to implement an interface called as method interceptor. Let's see. I'll write a new class. Logging around advice should implement an interface called as method interceptor from arg.aop alliance. There are various method interceptors. Take the one from arg.aop alliance.interceptor. So you need to implement an interface called as method interceptor and you need to invoke this. The parameter which is passed is here method invocation. Now method invocation dot invoke method invocation dot proceed will call the actual method, just like in invocation handler also. When we are writing our own proxy, method.invoke used to invoke the original method, right? So here method invocation.proceed will invoke the original method. It is returning the return value. Before calling the original method, I can write something. Before just right here inside logging around advice before plus I want the method name. So I can access the method name by using method location dot get method dot get name, and I will be able to access arguments of the method by using get arguments. I'll get arguments of the method, right? So right now I'll just print only the method name dot get name. Similarly, I will write some logic after and now I have to return the return value. Now the point is, in the around advice you will be having the access to return value, and whatever you are returning here will be given back to the client, right? In around advice you have an option to change the return value also. If you want, you can modify the return value and you can return it here. Whatever you are returning here will be given back to the client, right? So in around advice you have that option, but whereas in after returning advice you can just access it but you cannot modify it, right? So I have written it. Now only thing is I have to write that configuration inside. Class logging around advice and here I'll give for now. I'll just go to arithmetic calculator and I remove this exception simulation. Let us first see without exception. I'll run it. First, the before advice was executed because it was declared first in the list. Then around advice before was executed, then the virgin method. Then when coming back, first around advice after was executed, then after returning advice. So, in around advice, tell me, if I want some logic to be executed after exception, where do I write? I want some logic to be executed when exception is thrown by the target method. Shall I keep this in a try catch block? I can keep it in a try catch block. In the catch block, I can write the logic, whatever I want to get executed when exception is given by the target method, right? So we can use a single advice, around advice, for all the purposes. So most of the times we will be writing around advice. It's very simple to use and it serves all the purposes. Okay. Any? Simple, I am creating an employee DO. I don't want to write all the JDBC code again to confuse you. I will write employee DO. Assume that this is a DO. I am not writing any database code. Public list of string get all employee names. Here I'll just written, I'll hard code arrays dot as list. My name I'll write Shiva. I can give some more names, X, Y. So arrays.list will give you a list of things. This is simple. Assume that this list is got from the database, right? I'm not writing a database code. I'll write here inside employee DAO dot get all employees. Just I have hard coded some list, right? I don't want this method to be called for second time. For first time only this should be called. The result of the method should be cached, right? So see the logic. I will write a caching advice. Implements method interceptor. I want an around advice. A parameter here is method invocation. In this interceptor, what I will do is I need to maintain a cache, right? I will maintain a map with key as method name with parameters and value as the result, right? So I will say map of string comma object cache. I'll say this map is my cache is equals to new hash map. Now I'll say method invocation dot get methods dot get name. I'll get the string method name plus I'll say method invocation dot get arguments. I'll get an object array. How to convert the object array to string? Arrays dot to string. This will be the method name with argument. Suppose if I call add method by passing 2, 3, what will be the value of that? Add in brackets 2, that will be the string, right? So that is, now what I'll do is I'll say cache dot get method name. For the first time there will be nothing. Object value is equals to. If value is equals to null, that means there is nothing in the cache. Value is equals to null, then method invocation dot proceed will call the original method and I'll get the return value. Right? And then I'll put it inside the map cache dot put, but same key value. And then return the so the original method will be invoked only if it is not in the cache. If it is already in the cache, this will not be called, method will not be invoked, you just return the value from the cache, right? So I'll just apply my caching advice. I'll comment this. Okay, let it be. First we'll comment all. I'll create a bean for my employee DAO. I'll create a bean for my caching advice. Then I'll copy paste. I'll create a proxy. EMP DAO proxy. Target is employee DAO, and there is only one interceptor which I want to apply. Caching advice. Right? So if I get this employee DAO proxy, I'll be getting a proxy for which caching advice is applied. Now in my demo, I'll get employee DAO. Context dot get bean employee DAO of type DAO dot class. I need to wait typecast. Then I'll call employee DAO dot get all employee names. What I could have done is to simulate it. I want to get all employee names matching some name, just to give some parameter. Okay. I'm anyway not using this in a logic. Okay. I need to pass something ABC. So I'll be getting a list of string. I'll just print. I'll call it 2 times. Why is it called 2 times? Oh, did I get a proxy or DAO? I got the reference to employee DAO. I should get a reference to proxy. Okay. Now I should see that it is called only once, even though I called the method 2 times. Right? But if I pass a parameter differently, two times you should see, right? Again, parameters differing. Right? So you can now assume how caching can be done. Similar logic will be used in string caching also. Now coming back to my arithmetic calculator to explain some more concepts. I'll comment this. And I will uncomment this. Now let me just apply around advice here. I'll just comment all the advices to avoid confusion. Okay, my call C is applied only one advice, around advice, right? So around advice is having a method called as invoke. Now in my demo, that is tell me, if I call calculator dot subtract, will the advice be applied? It won't be applied? Will be applied. So this is my target. Tell me, at what all points can I join my advice? Proxy, what is it doing? It is joining my advice code before the method, right? After the method. So how many points can I, at how many points can I join my advice? At how many points in this class can my advice be applied? Before of each method and after. My advice can be joined. I can use this term. My advice can be joined for subtract or add. My advice code can be joined at two places. Before add method and subtract method, right? The place at which my advice can be joined is called as a join point. This is another terminology. Join point. A place where my advice can be plugged in or joined is called as a join point. By default, every method in the target is a join point. Right? By default, every method in the target is a join point because my advice can be applied to here as well as here. Right? I'll repeat again. A point where my advice code, my advice can be joined. It's called a join point. Every method is a join point. Before and after every method, my advice can be joined, right? By default, all my methods are join points. That means my advice will be applied to both add method and subtract method. Now, what I want is, I don't want my advice to be applied to subtract method. I want my advice to be applied only to add. Right? That means I don't want subtract to be a join point. I want add method only to become a join point. This is a place where only my advice can be. Right? So what I want to do is I want to reduce the number of join points. By default, all methods are join points. I want to reduce the number of join points. Or I want to narrow down the join points. By default, there are two join points. I want to narrow down the join point only to add, right? So something which helps me in narrowing down join point is called as point cut. Okay? Point cut can be an object or it can be an expression. That's why I used something. So point cut. Something which will help to reduce the join points, or we use a term called as narrow down the join points is called as point cut. What is the join point? How do I define a join point? A place where advice can be plugged in. Again, these are the terminologies: join point, point cut. Right? So now I want to apply a point cut to my advice. Right? If I apply a point cut to an advice such that only add method will be matched, then my add method only will be advised. So let's see how to write your own point cut. Okay, to be very clear, I'll just remove all these advice definitions, or maybe I'll cut it and paste it in this comment itself. So here only I have calculator my around advice and props, right? Now what I'll do is I'll create a bean. I'll write a class name matching name match method point cut. I said point cut is something which will help me in narrowing down. Point cut can be an object. In this case, I am showing you an object. Later, I will show you a point cut with expression. A point cut can be some expression, a regular expression, using which we can match. Okay. So right now, I am showing you an object which will match. ID is equals to, let's say, point cut, and this is having a dependency mapped name. What method to be mapped? Mapped name. Value is equals to, I'll say, add. If you want to map more than one method, there is mapped names, which is nothing but a array. So in a class, if there are 10 methods, and if you want only some 5 methods to be mapped, you can use mapped names. Right now, I want only one method to be mapped. I used map name.
You can do this in around advice. Add method name is add, then only execute.
That is hard coding again. Okay, as you told exactly, what you can do, you can write get method name. If it is add on it, then do it. But again, I'm hard coding. I want it to be declarative. In my XML, I'll declare. Why to hard code? Right. Then I have created a point cut and one advice, right? But we have to combine this advice and point cut, right? Combination of advice and point cut is nothing but advisor. Okay, advice plus point cut is equals to advisor. So what I need to do is I need to combine them by using an advisor, right? So I will write an advisor being class is equals to, there is an advisor called as default point cut advisor. As a logging advisor, and for this there are two dependencies. We need to specify what is advice. Ref is equals to logging around, and I should specify for it what is point cut. Ref is equals to, so by combining advisor and point cut, I created advisor. Now advisor should be used as an interceptor. Previously I was using this advisor as an interceptor, but right now I will use advisor as an interceptor, right? So now only whenever I call add method, it should be intercepted. For subtract method, it should not be intercepted. See my demo? I am calling add and subtract. Only before add, after add. For sub, you didn't see before sub, after sub. So only add method is intercepted. So now what you have done is you have narrowed down that add method is only a join point right now. Right now subtract is not a join point. Add method is join point. Who helped me in narrowing down? Pointer. Pointer is something which will help me in narrowing down the join points. What is a join point? The place where we can plug in our advice.
So it's an annotation kind of.
Yes. We are now writing only in XML. The next thing is everything whatever we have done very easily by using annotations. First we'll learn XML, then we'll go for very easy. Using annotation is very simple. Yeah.
This is also
Huh.
in the previous case we were able to narrow down using the interfaces. In each interface maybe implementing.
So now suppose your calculator is implementing 5 interfaces. Now you can have an option saying which method should be intercepted.
Correct. Again we are reducing the
Methods.
but we are not saying exclusively after.
Oh, that is not at interceptor level, interface level. You are asking at interface level.
Interface level.
You want a proxy implementing only some 3 interfaces. Is it?
Yeah, that we can do. In that case, we don't have the interface level request. Saying these are the interfaces.
Interceptors.
But here, point within the specified interfaces, which all methods should be used? That's the pointer.
Yes. In this whole class, if there are some 10 methods, what methods is done by pointer? Yes, correct.
So, see, when I ask how to reduce the calls, like there are 3 interfaces.
Okay.
Out of which only 2 have to be used. One should not be used. That exclusion
What
is
is
not available in the
when there are 10 methods and I don't want to use in 9 methods.
You don't want to use 9 methods?
No, I don't want to use one method.
You don't want to use one method?
Yeah.
Yeah. There is one more. By using this point cut, whichever I told, you can match only method names. But there is one more point cut called as aspect J expression point cut. You can write a simple expression. By using that expression, it will match what all methods to be executed. Next point we'll see. Expression point cut is it. Now we saw normal point cut. Just wait, I'll show you. Okay. So here we have seen advisor. Advise plus point cut is advisor. Another name for advisor is aspect. Another name for advisor is aspect. Till now I didn't talk about what is an aspect. This is an aspect. Aspect is nothing but advisor. Advisor is nothing but combination of advice plus point cut. Right? Now tell me, can I write a point cut which will match all the methods? Here I wrote my point cut which is matching only add method. Now what I can do is I can just say like this, map names, it's a list, it's a array, so I can say list value add and one more value tag sub. Now this point cut is matching all the methods. Yes.
No use of writing.
No use of writing it, right? What I mean to say is, if point cut is matching all the methods, right? Advise is equals to advisor. Advisor and advisor both are doing same. If I write a point cut which is matching all advice, all the methods, I need not write a point cut at all, right? So I can just remove this point cut. That means advisor, advice is also one type of advisor which is matching all the methods. So in a broader sense, if I see, advise also is an advisor which is matching all methods. Right? Or if advise is equals to advisor, can I say advise is equals to aspect? So I can call advise also an aspect, but in that case it's matching all points, all joint points. Right? So now we got an idea about what is an aspect. Here the terminology might be a bit different. Okay, so your point is to remove this 2. I just remove this 2. I have simple advice. Now what I'll do is I'll just write one more bean. Class is equals to name match method point cut advisor. It is a point cut advisor. In a single pin I can define both. Here I can give the injection mapped names. Whatever I have written for my point cut, the mapped names, I'll copy here. And what is the advice? Advice is logging around. So we wrote directly an advisor. Now no point cut. This is a point cut advisor. It has point cut internally. Whatever we are giving to a point cut bin earlier, we are giving it directly here. So this is a shortcut. Same I am using here in my intercept. Right? Now, once you understand this, I'll ask you some few basic questions. Just check whether you can answer it or not. If I just give you an advice, can you tell me what is this advice about? I have three questions: what, when, and where. What, when, where. If I just give you an advice class, I am giving you this advice class. Can you answer what? What is this advice about? Logging around, logging advice. It's having what type of code? Logging advice or caching advice. Advice. If I just give an advice class, you can tell what is this advice? Is it about logging? Is it about caching? Is it a security advice? Is it transaction advice? So your answer, you can answer what by seeing the advice. And can you answer when? When is this advice applied? Before or after? If I just give before advice, you can say it's applied before. So by just seeing the advice, I can answer what and when. Where is this advice applied? We can say by using point cut. Point cut, by seeing the point cut, can you say where? Here this is a point cut, right? You can say where for add, before add, for add method, for subtract method, right? Point cut tells where, right? So combination of advice plus point cut tells everything. What, when, and where, right? So we use aspect or advice. Aspect tells the whole information about what, when, and where. Right? Only these are the big skill now. But what if there are overloaded methods? Here my add method is taking int comma int. What if there is one more overloaded add method which is taking int comma int comma int? So by using this point cut, I cannot exactly specify add method which is taking int comma int only. Right? So by using this point cut, name match method point cut, I cannot specify the method which is taking parameters, right? So generally we don't use this name match method point. Then why do we discuss? It's an option, is there? If your logic is simple, if you want to simply just say these are the method names, then you can use this simple for simple purposes. But for complex purposes, that was not sufficient. So next, there is one point cut called as aspect J expression point cut. As I told you, what is aspect J? Aspect J is the original framework who has invented this AOP, aspect oriented programming. Spring AOP is just a copy of the concept of aspect. In aspect J framework, they were using expressions to match the methods. Right? Let me show you how to use an expression. This is an aspect J expression, aspect J point cut expression. An aspect J point cut expression will be like this. First, execution of is when a method is executed. First point before space will tell you what is the return type, and second will tell you on what class, method name, and parameters. So a signature, a general expression in aspect J will be like this. I will show you various examples now. Just see here. Just see this. Yeah. As I told you, every expression will be in this form. Execution of first one is return type, on what class, method, arguments, right? So I'll show you examples. Tell me what this will match for. What is the first one matching for? This is a class name, and after dot is a method name. All methods of arithmetic calculator with any parameters. Dot means any parameters. And what is the return type? Anything. Return type can be anything. So this expression will match all the methods of arithmetic calculator. Return type can be anything and parameters can be. So forget about this. This will be only for annotation things. Right? For XML, remember, you have to do the qualified class name whenever you are writing in XML. For annotations, we need not do the qualified class name. We will see about annotations, same thing when I talk about annotations. Now, tell me, if you, okay, assume that there is a qualified class name. What will this match? Only public methods. Only public methods present in. Now next example. All public methods of arithmetic calculator, but return type should be and parameters can be anything. Then this one. First parameter should be double and rest can be anything. All methods of arithmetic calculator which are taking double comma double only, return type should be. This is another type of expression. Within the following point cut matches all method execution join points within this package. Within means all methods of all classes present within this package. Right? And if I use another dot here to match join points within a package and its sub packages anywhere. This will match all the methods of all classes present in this package as well as its subset. This one, all the methods of a particular class. Can you tell me similar thing for execution? This is within, right? This is equivalent to writing execution of star space arithmetic calculator IMPLs dot star dot. Same thing can be done by using execution or within. Okay, when you are using annotation, this is the one. Now tell me this one. You can match the method execution join point in all classes that implement if this is an interface. Arithmetic calculator plus means you match all the methods of all classes which are implementing this interface. bean name is ending with calculator. So these are the various types of aspect J expressions, right? So now by using expressions you can match any of the methods you want to, right? And you can use OR. This is OR symbol. Within arithmetic calculator plus OR within. So what is it? It will match all the implementations, all methods in our class implementing this one or right. Forget about this. We'll talk about those things in annotations. Okay, we'll see that in annotations. So let me complete this first. I will write an aspect J expression point cut. Thing is, I can write a bean. Class is equals to aspect J expression point cut. There are two things: expression point cut, which will differ only point cut. Again, I have to combine point cut with, or directly I can use point cut advisor. So I'll use this directly. Aspect J expression d point cut advisor. I'll give ID is equals to this one, logging advisor, and for this expression is of what type? Value is equals to, I'll say execution of, I want to match only add method, star any return type, com dot mysys dot arith, dot add method, which is taking int comma so this is an advisor, and for this we need to give, for this we need to give what is the advice? Logging around advice. So this advisor is a combination of this point cut expression and advice, right? Now I am applying the same advisor as interceptor to my, right? So now only add method should be intercepted. Let me check. I'm calling both add and sub. Yeah, only add method is intercepted by the proxy, right? Any doubts?